Hello, my friends, and welcome back.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at a clip of a fat activist complaining that the sizes available inside Torrid aren't big enough. Apparently, we've got ourselves another case of this plus-size store ain't plus enough. We're also going to be taking a look at a couple of bonus clips, including one where somebody is saying that the movie WALL-E is fat-phobic, and another where somebody's talking about weight-based oppression at work. Before we proceed, please click the like button so that I may apply comb to mustache.
I need to talk about a problem. I just went to Torrid because I was trying to get a new bra. I literally only have one. I haven't gotten one in a while, so I needed to be sized. So I went and I got sized, and she pretty much came up with that I was like a 48 to 50 D or double D. She gives me my...
What does it mean when they size you? They like put you inside of some kind of boob form or something, and they're like, yep, that's a 48 double D right there. Sorry, I'm naive, obviously, on this process.
size, but then she's like, unfortunately, none of our bras here are gonna fit you. And I was like, sorry, what? Like, this is a plus size store. This is why I came here. This is what you specialize in, inclusivity. So while they
Okay, so you're too plus size for the plus size store.
advertise that they carry size 32 to 58 for the underbust, they only carry size 32 to 44 in store. Meaning,
Underbust? Okay, I'm getting all types of confused now.
if you are anywhere between a 48 and a 58, your sizes are just not available in store, and you can only get them online. Meaning,
Okay, so what you need to do then is go online. Sounds like the solution to this particular problem is to go on the interwebs.
if you're a size 3 to 6, your sizes are not even carried in the actual store. So this is how fat phobia is still present, even in places where you think it wouldn't be, like a...
Dude, it's a plus size store and they carry the sizes that they can. They can't possibly have every single size known to man all in one brick and mortar location.
plus size store, because they only cater to the smallest fat people.
So now you see that it's never good enough with people from this movement. There's a plus size store that they can go to, and they're like, you're only catering to the smallest of the fats. Like, what the hell? I'm a size 52, you only go up to a 48. Like, there's always going to be somebody bigger that has a bigger complaint, pun intended, get dunked on. So
Shopping in person at an actual store for fat people a lot of the time is very dehumanizing and sometimes humiliating.
well, if it's so humiliating to go shop in a store in person, maybe that should motivate us to change. Not to try to change Torrid, but to change ourselves.
Because you can't look at the things you want, most stores you can't even go in, and then when you can, you sometimes find out that you're still too big in the plus size stores, which
Is there ever going to be a point where we see any of this as a wake-up call, right? Like, I got fat shamed here and there, and it was very embarrassing. But the point that really woke me up was when I went to Torrid, and I was too plus size for the plus-sized store. That's when I had a personal epiphany, right? So is that part gonna happen, or no? Torrid has the problem. Somebody else always has the problem. It's always somebody else, isn't it? The rest of us have personal problems. Fat activists have a world that needs to change.
is still not fair. Every single person should have access to in-person shopping.
Every single person. What if you're 1,000 pounds? How is a store going to carry every possible size? And they're also going to carry extra small sizes too, right?
I love this chart made by the account Your Body Is Good.
I love that name. Your Body Is Good. Tell me what I want to hear, even if it's not true. That'll help me a lot.
Which shows the access that fat people have to clothing. Within
This is a very scientific chart.
the different types of fat people, the bigger you get, the less access you have.
Well, and that chart proved it. I mean, as we can clearly see here, there is a dark blue check mark next to straight size, and then a lighter blue one to small fat, and an even lighter blue one next to mid fat. So that indicates that they have limited access to clothing. So this proves it. Thank you very much. I rest my case. I think that my chart from Your Body Is Good will prove my point. Did you see the blue check mark? It said that the larger you get, the less access you have to stuff. So that's all the proof that I need. I don't even understand this chart. It's just it's just some stupid check marks, bruh.
The fat people, the bigger you get, the less access you have. Moral of the story, I think Torrid needs to do better in offering all the sizes that they have in person, also seeing as they are...
How could you have every possible size in person, madam? Truly, you've gone insane.
one of the only plus-size stores that are available to us in average malls.
I actually went to a Torrid not too long ago, and I made a little video of it for my Instagram. Sometimes I go out in public, and I make a little video about it, and I film it and upload it to my Instagram. You should follow me there. Here's the link. I also play my guitar on there sometimes. Last time I did, it's been a while, hold my head up high. Here's a link.
People deserve all the same access as anybody else.
People deserve what they have worked for, period. I'm never going to stop saying that. I would say when you become too plus-sized for the plus-size store, perhaps instead of complaining online, it's time to take a look within and maybe make some personal changes. What if we just keep getting larger and larger with each passing year? We want this store to carry bigger and bigger sizes with each passing year to accommodate us. Next. Alright, she's going to be responding to this comment that says, no one with clear mind would see fat phobia in movie, which is just about bad lifestyle in future. It's not about being fat is bad, it's about being lazy is. Okay, there were no periods or commas in that whole thing.
Right, we're talking WALL-E today and the incredible fat phobia that is in the film. The fact that it's a kid's film is even more troubling. But of course, our most common response is, this isn't fat phobia. It's just saying if you sit around and you're lazy, you're going to be fat.
Yes.
That is fat phobia because we're saying nobody wants to be fat. It's really bad to be fat. So
it didn't say it was bad to be fat. It just said you will get fat if you sit around eating all day.
Fat people sit around and eat and they don't move their bodies. And that is what this is saying. People said, well, it's not explicitly saying that. But that's the message it's sending. So
okay, well, everybody didn't become obese from genetics.
Here's an article that has a similar viewpoint. It says just kind of the premise of the film are these robots find each other and then they go to the Axiom ship, which is where all these people are living. And then it says, and when we do, every single one of them is significantly overweight, is confined to a hovering chair with a built-in virtual monitor for watching television and communicating.
The future is looking grim.
They also consume all of the meals sitting in their chairs and are so constantly on their screens that they don't even notice there's a swimming pool.
I never even noticed that part of the movie. There was a pool that nobody used?
Which, I do think that messaging of like, media and screens and social media are going to take over our lives if we're not careful because it is addicting. And so that's a very unhealthy thing. Obviously, we need to be social, we need connection.
Okay, so it's good to have the messaging in there that you shouldn't be on your stupid tablet all the time. But the messaging that you shouldn't be obese is problematic for some reason.
We need movement in our lives. We need to be nourished.
Yeah. We do need to be nourished.
That's a nice message, but then when you go and make every single character fat, it takes away the true message, in my opinion.
I think the message is that everybody became too dependent on technology, so they stopped using their bodies and they all became morbidly obese. And now they just hover around and stare at these stupid little screens all day. We're damn near there already. When you see like obese people at a Walmart on mobility scooters, sometimes it gives some kind of WALL-E vibe.
So it says it's pretty evident that the point is to show that since they don't need to do anything for themselves, the humans in WALL-E are just lazy and complacent.
That's exactly what happens. When you don't have to do anything for yourself, this is what will happen.
But adults can see that's also a cruel depiction of people who are overweight in real life.
Stop identifying with negative things in movies. Like when they show someone dumb on screen, you're gonna be like, hey, that guy's dumb, and you guys portrayed him in a negative light. That reminds me of me, how dare you?
As it implies that they're lazy and refuse to move. It's especially insulting to heavy folks who are confined to wheelchairs or mobility devices. That's actually a great point that I never thought of.
No, it's not. It's not insulting to anybody. It's just showing what happens when you sit around doing nothing and eating the wrong kind of food all day. So when we show a drunk in a movie acting like a moron, are other alcoholics supposed to be offended by that?
It says that's pretty typical of Pixar movies, is to be fat phobic.
Okay, so these aren't even your own words. You're reading somebody else's article complaining that this movie is fat phobic.
So if you show fat people sitting around doing nothing, saying this is why they're fat because they're sitting around doing nothing, you are then saying people who are currently in fat bodies are sitting around doing nothing.
You might not be the laziest person on earth if you're obese, but you definitely aren't athletic, right? You didn't become obese from doing a bunch of exercise.
You cannot have the message go one way and not the other. And it doesn't have to be explicit. You don't have to explicitly say being fat is bad, all fat people live this way, to send that message. And you're sending it to kids too.
Well, a few years ago, back when WALL-E was released, we understood that the food that you eat leads to the weight that you are. I know that now we're getting a little confused these days, but back then when that movie was released, there was no confusion.
Which you think then kids are going to be more nice to the larger kids in their class? No.
All right, well, I don't think that the movie WALL-E is fat phobic. Back in the day, people were just a lot more blunt about what makes somebody morbidly obese. People in the movie WALL-E weren't just casually fat, they were morbidly obese from sitting around doing nothing and letting technology take care of them in every single way. It's more of a cautionary tale, I would say. And if kids use it as justification to be mean to fat kids, that's not the fault of the movie. Kids are just little bastards, you know? They're gonna do what they're gonna do. Next. Alright, this person is going to be responding to this comment that reads, how is someone's weight causing them to be oppressed in their workplace?
Great question. Most recently, I was leaving the lobby of my work, and the security guard, not employee of my company, asked how much I weighed. And then when I went into
What? The security guard asked you how much you weighed?
fight or flight and didn't respond and was
I'm gonna have to not believe that right out the gate. Let's restart.
I was leaving the lobby of my work, and the security guard, not employee of my company, asked how much I weighed. And then when I went into fight or flight and didn't respond and was like, what the fuck is going on? He was like, is it 300 pounds or is it 500 pounds?
Oh yeah? And then what happened? Is that when the unicorn came flying in?
So that was sick.
Yep, that super really real thing that really happened. That was messed up.
Another time I can think of distinctly is when I worked with this girl who I thought was my friend. She wasn't my friend, but
Dude, how many bizarre stories does this person have?
she introduced me to her aunt, and we had a conference call where her aunt told me how she lost weight. And then I didn't lose weight because I was like, I don't want to starve myself. And then unprompted, maybe a few weeks later, she dropped a book on my desk about how to lose weight.
Okay, so I'm not really buying that story either. Although it's a little bit more believable than the security guard at your work randomly asking if you weigh 300 or 500 pounds.
And then I returned it to her 3 months later
And then there was this one time that I went to school and the teacher fat shamed me and said that I was a big fat fatty in front of the whole class and it's super for really real happened. Oh yeah? And then what happened?
I finally was confident enough to return it. And she said, did you read it? And I said no. And she said I could tell.
Okay, so the second story, somebody asked if you were interested in a weight loss thing, and you were like, no, I'm not interested in starving myself, because as we know, that's the only way to lose weight. Every obese person seems to think that that's how we lose weight, so obviously their perspective on this particular topic is super valid, and they know exactly what they're talking about. So you decided, no, I don't want to do the weight loss plan. I'm not going to starve myself, yada, yada, yada. Time goes by. They give you a weight loss book. Eventually, you return the book, and she asks you if you read it, and you said no, and she was like, yeah, I could tell. I don't believe any of these stories thus far.
I can also just think of way more passive times where being large and in charge is not fun at work.
Being large and in charge. Well, if they put you in charge, that would be pretty cool. Just for being large, especially. I mean,
especially with size of swag. I'm fortunate enough to fit in a 2XL.
Okay, you're talking about company swag, like when you work at Applebee's or something and they give you an Applebee's key ring and an Applebee's t-shirt or whatever.
And there's usually a few of those t-shirts around. But if you're bigger than a 2XL, like you're not gonna get company swag.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't care about company swag. I really hate that name. I don't want to wear the stupid corporate logos all over my body as I go out into society. Everybody doesn't need to know where I work, right? I'm not like making it part of my identity. Like, hey, I'm the guy that works at Applebee's, everybody. I'm wearing the company logo outside of work. Look at me, everyone. That's not me.
It's more expensive to order in different SKUs, and yeah, like you won't be included. I think.
Okay, this is highly oppressive. This is a good response to this person's question asking what's causing them to be oppressed in their workplace.
The toughest thing about fat phobia in the workplace is that there's no laws really against being fat phobic. It's not like there are laws like there are for gender discrimination or racial discrimination.
Actually, there are laws like that now in several places.
People can pretty much legally be mean to you if you're fat. And
yeah, people can legally be mean to each other for any reason at all. So you want a society where people aren't allowed to be mean to each other.
there's really nothing that can be done about it.
Well, we could ignore it. We could use it as a motivator to change. We have several options for how we can respond to negativity from others, but the choice is always ours.
So yeah, I hope this helped everyone understand.
Yeah, I mean, not having company swag in your size is a form of oppression to some people, I guess.
A little bit better what the fuck I'm talking about. Okay.
Okay, so what I got from that is that you don't know what the word oppression means. That's what I'm getting from that. Oppression is when they don't have your 2XL size shirt in company swag at work.
But I really wanted that Applebee's sweater.
All my friends need to know how excited I am for the new fried onion fiesta. So I'm gonna have to disagree with her that any of that stuff was oppression, and I don't even believe like 90% of those stories. If that's your version of oppression, consider yourself to have a very lucky and charmed life. So what do you think of the clips that we just saw? Is Torrid fat phobic and needs to carry larger sizes in store? Should they carry every single size in store? Is the movie WALL-E fat phobic? And is it weight-based oppression when they don't have our size in company swag at work? Leave a comment below. Happy Monday, everybody. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.